Hey everybody, Dogbird here, back in DC Worlds Collide, and before I get going, I want to make sure it's perfectly clear that I am part of the DC Worlds Collide Content Creator Program that has just started up, and I will be receiving in-game rewards. This is just full disclosure. This doesn't really change my opinion on things or anything I'll be saying, but just keep that in mind in case you think so. Now on to this video. This is about new player advice, mid-player advice, even my fellow content creators' advice. I'm seeing more people are starting to cover the game. More people are playing the game. Absolutely great. I love this game. I want to see this game succeed. I want to see this game get global launched. That's a whole nother story. But, oh my god, people. Oh, there's so much bad advice going out there. There's so much bad habits getting formed. I don't want people getting these bad habits. Most of the content creators I've seen are actually below me. As you can see, I'm up to 39-16 right now. And they're generally a little bit farther behind, so maybe they haven't experienced this. The other thing is why I did my own tier lists based on the classes. There's a tier list out there I know by Reaper's Fury. He is a very high-end player. He's way farther than me. He's a moderator for the Discord. He actually does talk to them. But his tier list focuses heavily on PvP, on the arena, and at being at max. I mean, talking absolutely max levels of characters. I focused on the entire game, what their kits do, and how they actually act. That's why I made my own. It's more of a general player advice. And there's another reason why I don't really focus on PvP. I don't think it's worth it. This is not an everyday award like you get with like a Marvel Strike Force where you play in the arena every day. You have these basic tier rewards which you can collect any time as long as you can get up to that kind of rank. You have rank rewards which you can get the first time you reach those ranks, so great. Here are the season rewards. Depending where you get. This only comes out once a week, people. You only get rewards for your rank once a week. For instance, I got 700 diamonds in for 1 week. I'm not going to build characters for 700 diamonds once a week. The other day, I was like down to like 200 diamonds after I pulling for Jon Stewart, which I regret. This game gives you tons of diamonds for free. 700's a drop in the bucket. It's not really worth it. I'm not going to concentrate my roster on something like that. So that's my first piece of advice. Don't give a crap about arena. Don't give a crap about unrestricted arena. Unless you're a major crack and you're probably not going to get to the top of those, or you're a very new player and you happen to get into it. Next piece of advice, let's head into a battle so I can talk about this one. This is probably the biggest one on my list. So before I get to this advice, I figured it would be better to get to a boss battle, so I quickly cleared out a couple of minion battles. This is more of a mini-boss battle. This one happens to be more of a DPS check battle. Let's go into this on the main stage. This would be a good time to talk about this. As you can see, I am definitely going to be punching up. So one thing that I've gotten asked in the past is Ultimate Order. I don't give a crap about Ultimate Order, because Ultimate Order is only if you're hitting the evil auto button. So my first piece and biggest piece of advice, turn off auto and play the game. I cannot stress this enough. Because essentially you need to be able to react to how the battle is going and what you need to do. You need to know what your characters do. You need to know when to maybe even save these collection items for when you set them off in some battles. You just need to know exactly what you do. The other thing I also say, I don't worry about this. I know it exists. I don't care. I just throw the characters in that are good, that are going to work together, that are going to get me through it. Nightwing, Lex, 2 best tanks in the game. If you don't know how to build Nightwing, it's put block on him. Why is Lex so good? He dispels, he puts shields on you. Oh yeah, he also has another tactical renaissance. 12% damage reduction while you have a shield. Hal gives shields. Takes his shield, makes it damage. That's why he's so good. Killer Frost, amazing DPS. Don't even need to use her ultimate, and she will be the top damage. Not using the ultimate means I have more energy for other characters to do their stuff. Not every ultimate has to be big damage. Santana is in here because of her utility as life support. Depending on what fight I'm in, I might drop Santana. I might bring in Kid Flash if I need a dedicated healer rather than just some passive healing for a little bit of healing. If I'm taking big damage, I'm bringing in Kid Flash. If I need bigger DPS and I don't really need the healing, I'll bring in another DPS, most likely Jessica Cruz, because she gets powered up by Lex as well as Hal with shields. She gives Hal more shields. She helps the entire team survive because she's giving the entire team shields. And then she can do decent damage on this team. But that requires turning off auto and playing it correctly. Saving energy so that I can do a Lex Jessica combo. When to cast Hal? When do I want to cast Killer Frost? Do I ever need to use Nightwing's ultimate? When I was talking about how I bring in Kid Flash and I'm taking a lot of damage, Nightwing's ultimate now becomes much more important because I might need to stun a DPS in that back row that I can't get to who's doing a ton of damage. These are the things you need to think about. You don't just put the game on auto and pray it works. Placement does matter. There are nodes with Damian Wayne Robbins, and they will absolutely destroy whoever he's across from in the back row. If you've seen my streams, you saw me face some of them. And what did I do? I actually took Nightwing and put him in the back row across from Damian Wayne. Normally you have your two tanks up front. In the case of a big bad Damian Wayne, you put Nightwing back there. Damian can't kill him. Chances are the rest of the team isn't set up to really kill another tank. So you might end up running a DPS or support up here, along with one tank, or you might run 3 tanks in that particular battle, depending on what kind of battle it is. There's some tankier DPS too, and tankier support. Santana's a little bit more tanky. Hal is actually a great counter to Damian Wayne Robin. He is, somewhat tanky because he does give himself a shield, but the other thing that Hal does is he dispels that bleed, which is actually the biggest problem. Batman's actually a little bit on the tankier side. He can be used up front. Pandora can be used up front. Two-Face can definitely be used up front if you need to. There's some different things if you put in the back or the front. That's a whole other story. I think you've gotten my point. Now, this is probably going to be a DPS check race. I don't think I'm going to take too much damage. I'm going to replace, oops, don't want to bring in Raven for this fight. I'm going to replace her. A lot of people don't like Jessica Cruz. Now, I've given up damage reduction from Lex. I'm going with this tactical renaissance from Killer Frost now, where it increases the basic attacks by allies by 12%. Don't underestimate that. Don't forget, your characters have to take 5 turns in order for you to get energy, and that's a basic attack. Next to 12% on something you're doing constantly is great. So let's watch and see how I play this. In this case, I'm going to start out with the chair, because I want to build up the energy for this team until I use these drawings to get their buffs. Why am I using Lex first? I'm playing defensively. I don't really know what the damage is going to be. What the other thing is to get those shields out and start trying to buff up Jessica and Hal a little bit, but they're going right through my shields. Now Parallax is going to go right into Killer Frost. He lasts, I believe, 4 turns off the top of my head. Now my Killer Frost is going to do more damage. Now I have an ultimate. I'm not using Killer Frost, I'm using Hal, get him going. There's also another reason, because I have an artifact. You can see Jessica Cruz died, so maybe I want to restart this node. Maybe not bring in Jessica. Or just do it differently. She just couldn't survive this one. But let's see how I can do. I don't always just give up the minute I lose somebody. So we're taking a whole lot of damage here, so I might need Zantana after all. These are the later levels, so these are much more difficult. There is a lot of damage. These are very long fights. You have to plan that out. You're not just going to beat them in 1 or 2 rounds. Now we lost Tal because of how much damage we're taking. This would be a good time to use Nightwing now. Try to reduce some of that damage. I need to keep Killer Frost alive. She is my main damage dealer. And that means I'm going to use Lex. And again, you can see I'm just always reacting depending on how the fight is, what the timing is sometimes even. There's times like when you face like a Firestorm, you want to wait for him to take his turn, then use Lex, because Lex does dispel those debuffs. Gets rid of those burns. Can also be used against poison, so I actually got through this one. But you can see it was not at all clean. And you can see Killer Frost, my main damage. Just to tell you that these fights are going to be long. You also have, don't forget about your system recovery. I want to mention that. There are some nasty fights in this system recovery with some different objectives. Don't forget that these objectives are cumulative, meaning you can beat this stage with an intellect character, and as long as you meet these 2 conditions here, you'll get them checked off. You can come back then later with a different team without an intellect character and try beating it without the intellect character, or vice versa. You can do it, okay, I'm going to beat it without an intellect character, but maybe I don't have 3 characters survive. But then I come back in with another team that has intellect characters, but all the characters can survive, and I can get the victory again. And don't forget, you don't have to do this all in one shot. This also applies to Crisis Watch. If you're not familiar, I've started mine, but you have all these different little objectives all the time. Again, you don't have to do these all in one shot. You can come back to it. You just need to get some, and then you can come back and try focusing on, maybe you focus on manning the flower and counterattack, but maybe not all 5 people can survive. You come back and you concentrate on have survival. Just some things to think about. You're also going to need a wide roster in this game. As you can see, my roster is quite wide. I have a lot of characters up at rank, a lot of 3 stars. The reason why I have a lot of these at 3 red is that a general rule of thumb for characters is rank 8 is where they really unlock what they need to do as a character. General rule of thumb. Not everybody's like that. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's usually on the passive here is when you get the 2nd level of when it really unlocks what they do. There are exceptions to the rule. Raven is a great exception, and that's because of this ability. Because it goes from a 4-turn cooldown to a 3-round. Sedestra is a great example of somebody who you need at rank 8 to really get his full advantage. Where is it? Oh, it's his ultimate. No, it's not his ultimate. It's not that. Where is it? Consumption. I thought it was one of the passives. There's a passive that reduces the ultimate cost down to 3. I can't find it now in Sinestro. Of course, when I go to make a video, I'm going to find it. Ah, here it is. It is a passive. So once you get him to rank 8, you get this unlocked here for a passive. When it reaches 6 stacks, essentially when he has the 6 stacks of fear, the consumption is decreased by 1 for his ultimate energy, which is normally a 4. Everybody hates that about Sinestro, that he's a 4 instead of a 3. You need him at rank 8 to do that. Dr. Fate's a good example of somebody who doesn't need to be at rank 8 to do everything he needs to do. His rank 8 just increases attack. You don't need that. You can do everything you need with Dr. Fate at rank 7. Jessica Cruz was another great example of somebody that needed to be rank 8. Getting more shield damage absorption was one. Number of stacks and reaches 8 or more. Her crit rate increases. That was quite huge for her. Like I said, in general, characters need to be rank 8 to really unlock everything that they're supposed to be doing for you. And let's not forget about emblems. Just generally work on your emblems, your top characters first. If they need that emblem to do what they need to do. If you want Nightwing to be his absolute best, you need to get to rank 25, which is in here. The reason being there's this big block and damage reduction that gets put on him. If you're playing Nightwing, you want block. You want lots of block because of his skill set. And that's the other thing is that, I know I've seen this, I keep seeing it happening. People are putting one tank in the front row and they're putting like a DPS in the front row. You can get away with that in the earlier stages. Absolutely. I could do that right now. In fact, I will. Here, I'll throw Zatanna in there. People are doing this. Now, this is a minion stage, so I know I can get away with it. Because I'm just going to do this and wipe out the minions. You can absolutely get away with that on minion stage. You could absolutely get away with that early in the game. You think for 1 second it's going to work on a boss? You just saw the amount of damage I took in my last boss battle. It ain't happening. You need 2 tanks up front. And if you're not aware, the tank on the left generally takes more damage, generally speaking. Because the tank on the left, let's go and open this up real quick. Oh crap, this is going to be a hard one. Three silver Batman. Generally speaking, these 3 characters are going to hit the tank on the left. These 2 characters are going to hit the tank on the right. There are stages, though, where they put like the mini-boss, a really high DPS on the right, so you need to switch them around so that your main tank is now on the right and your secondary tank is on the left. This is not going to work. Zatanna is going to get her butt kicked real quick. Won't even matter if I throw in a different DPS like Constantine. Constantine's a great character, by the way. Except for the self-sacrifice mechanic at higher levels. Just makes him more of a detriment rather than a benefit. As you can see, Hal's taking damage just because he took a turn. Generally, because the damage is so much taken, you can't have extra damage given to yourself. This is why I don't use Constantine as much anymore. Oh look, Zatanna's already dead. Hey, that was great putting that support up there, huh? Imagine if it was a DPS. Can I even get through this? I doubt it. You can see the boss alone has 6. Oh look, Constantine's dead. It's just not going to work, people. You're going to have to build up 2 tanks. You want the 2 best? It's Lex and Nightwing at this time. As you can see, this is not going very well. I didn't have Parallax out. That's what you get for recording a video. You don't pay attention to even what you're supposed to be doing. You can see Nightwing is tanking it, though. He has a great amount of damage reduction getting that sturdy armor. But you can see the Killer Frost is really doing the work on the damage side. Hal's a great character. I might be able to power through this, but it's definitely ugly. Just because I have really good characters. Oh, there goes Nightwing. There goes Hal. I don't think Killer Frost can take him out that quick. You can see that Batman's really putting out the damage. Oh, wow. That was ugly and dumb luck, honestly. Well, how much better would that have been if I had 2 tanks up front? You didn't have to worry about that. And lean on my Killer Frost like I did. You can see my point, though, I hope. So this video's gotten awfully long. One last thing is about characters. Do not forget, in this game, gear can be moved. I can replace this at any time, move it to any character. It would be great if we had gear sets that we could just dump them onto the different characters as we need them. But we can't. Artifacts can also be moved. Don't forget, you can move them around as needed if you're in a fight. Don't forget, you are going to need that wider roster for things like convergence, where you have to do the different colors and different supervillains, superheroes. You can only use certain colors too, so you're going to have to keep it wide. You need it for system recovery as well. Don't forget to also upgrade your collection items every now and then. Overall, you get an overall buff, so the actual individual item doesn't need to be higher. Just leveling them up gives you this overall buff to your team. And if you're looking at the collection item events, you don't know which ones to go for. Number 1 is the plane. Number 2 is parallax. If you're going free to play, if you're not having any of those, the top collection item you can get is out of the different universe. That is the throne. That would be number 1. Motorcycle and tiger are kind of number 1, are kind of in a tie. They're both really not good. The mirror, if you're using the mirror, it's because you're taking a lot of back row damage. You just need a quick little heal. It's not going to do much. Honestly, you really need to push yourself to get that plane in those collection events, which I know are coming. And don't forget, we also have the ability, we can rank up collection. I actually have one. So now I'm going to I have to make a decision. So parallax will go, damage amplification, damage reduction will be increased to 35% while the character's possessed, which is for 4 rounds. It only happens to one character. The plane, on the other hand, while the plane is it does this to all allies, give them the cloak, which is a fantastic buff, frantic, which gives crit. So if I ranked him up, I'd get crit damage increased to 40% instead of 30. But that's for all characters while they have this buff, but they only get it for 2 turns. So hard decision. I don't think I can rank up anything else. The other thing would be wait for the throne, which I haven't ranked 4, which you really need at rank 3 to get the extra defense to all allies. If you ever play this, I have it going to 35% if I want to wait it out. They get vitality and 2 stacks of shelter to the front row. Next attack by 50%. I don't know if I really need that though. I'm going to have to think about that, but don't forget about your collection items. Don't forget about your artifacts. You got to rank them up too. You get the little red dots. These all move too. Don't forget they're just like gear. But they also like characters. So I'm going to wrap it up with this. I think I've ranted on enough. Just remember, I don't give a crap about the green-blue thing, red thing. It really doesn't matter. Go with the best characters, your strongest characters that you need. If they work together, that's all great. If multiple teams, shield team, debuff team, heal team, even sometimes things like that. How they work together. Learn your characters. Turn off auto. Play the game the way it's supposed to be played. You're gonna have to be able to react and learn when I need to hit an ability. I need to learn to save energy. Things like that. You're going to have to eventually get a wider roster. Most characters need rank 8. There are exceptions to this rule. Also learn how to gear the characters, like Nightwing. You want block. Block is the key stat. You want a block set on him, obviously. That's a good example. DPS characters, you want DPS stats. If you have Wonder Woman, if you're lucky enough to have her, you want crit on her. Things like that. So until next time, I hope this video makes sense and that I didn't go rambling on too much, and hopefully you get the idea. Until next time, everybody.